Did you know that your postpartum experience doesn't have to be completely exhausting? It's possible to thrive and relish the joys of new motherhood with just a few simple habits. Join us in today's episode as we speak to Sara Moriera, a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and former labor and delivery nurse, all about regaining your energy postpartum. Tune in to discover essential tips that will help you love the newborn phase, feeling rejuvenated and empowered.
Welcome to My True Health podcast. I'm Michele Scarlet, a board certified functional medicine practitioner, functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, certified personal trainer, and women's health coach. I'm here to help women achieve true health by deep diving into the symptoms that often go ignored or dismissed. Join me and other experts in the women's health space as we uncover the truth around all things women's health. Hello, friends. Before we dive into today's episode, this is your friendly reminder to rate and review my podcast so more women like you get access to it. We know how important it is to empower and educate women to be advocates for their own health because the information we share on this podcast is not the information we're taught by our doctors.
Sara Moriera is a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner with a background as a labor and delivery nurse. As a mom of four, she knows firsthand the challenges that come with postnatal recovery, and she specializes in helping other moms regain their energy and metabolism after pregnancy. She uses her clinical experience and a holistic approach to tackle the root causes of fatigue and metabolic issues. Her passion is empowering mothers to reclaim their vitality and help them feel like themselves again. Through her work, she's dedicated to supporting women on their journey to long term health and well being. Thank you, Sara, for joining us today and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Absolutely. Why don't we start with you telling us just a little bit about your background? And I'm really interested in your labor and delivery journey, but tell us a little bit about your journey into holistic health.
Yeah, since I was a teenager, I've struggled with mostly gut issues. So I started out having really bad acid reflux. During that period of time, I had gastritis, I had gut inflammation, stomach pains, bloating. I was gaining weight and that time as well, and went to my doctor, like that's what you do,
Right.
and didn't really receive the answers that I thought I would. I thought I would go and it would be like, this is what's going on with you, this is how to fix it, and I'd be on my way. But the first doctor, it was kind of like, well, let's get you a scope. Let's look inside, let's see what's going on.
I'm even surprised at that, to be honest with you. That's a
Yeah.
decent to look inside what's a little deeper, right?
Correct. And my grandmother, I'll have to give it to her. She's in healthcare as well. So I think she pushed a little bit for that.
Okay.
And so did that, came out clean. Maybe we see a little bit of inflammation, but nothing major. And if you're having acid reflux, like let's put you on a PPI. I was on Nexium. Um, and I did it for a little while to relieve symptoms just because it was so bad.
Sure.
And within maybe not even a month, I realized like, am I supposed to just take this for the rest of my life? And I started looking into it and I realized that that drug is meant for short term. So
And
I'm
they
like,
didn't tell you that? They
they
didn't.
didn't tell me that. It was just take this and that's it. And I'm thinking like, how is this okay to not really know what's causing this? And I didn't really know how I was going to figure it out, but I knew I had to do something. Um, so I just like naturally on my own started doing like food elimination diets and I took out gluten, which helped a little bit. I started playing around with stuff like that and doing taking away like trigger foods helped, but then you feel kind of stuck after that. Like, am I just supposed to never eat these foods again and just
Right.
live like that? I don't know.
So
Um
many women feel like that. So many women. And they just
yeah,
accept it. And then by the time they get to somebody like you or me, they're basically eating ice.
exactly. And it's not fun.
No.
um so moving on from that, I mean, I became a nurse pretty early on in my 20s, and I thought for sure that like that would teach me a lot and really never got any better from that. And it was as I started my nursing career that I started to look into functional health and I started to find root cause approaches and things like that. And I think I came across someone who was an FDN and saw what she was doing and was like watching her on her Instagram. And I'm like, I want to do that.
Like
Yeah.
I went into health to do what she's doing, but I'm not able to do what she's doing. I can't even help myself.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Did you think that when you were getting into nursing that like did you dream about like truly helping people? But then when you got there, did you maybe feel like you were stuck in a bit of a box? Like
Yeah.
you
a
couldn't
hundred
do what you
percent.
wanted to do?
Right. 100% because and what happened was, I went into a specialty to start, which is like where I got my first job. It was in cardiac. So we had a lot of diabetic patients, a lot of they were getting heart surgeries, open heart surgeries. They had issues like that, and it was serious. And so in a way, I was helping, but then you started to realize that these same patients sent home on more and more medications, and they were coming back. Sent home on more and more medications, and they were coming back. We would have regulars, and I got frustrated with that pretty quickly, and I jumped to another specialty because I'm like, maybe it's better somewhere else. And then I did it again because I kept wanting something different, but not realizing that that whole medical model is just based that way.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up in labor and delivery, just by trying to find where I wanted to be.
And how did you like labor and delivery?
I liked it. I actually really liked it. I had healthy patients for the most part. I mean, we were a high risk unit, so we did have a lot of like moms with gestational diabetes and moms with preeclampsia, and things like that. But I did like it. What happened was, again, kind of the same situation where I realized, are we really helping these moms?
Mhm.
And I would help them deliver the babies, and then sometimes I would be in the postpartum unit as well. And so you see all this hype around pregnancy, and they would get all the support in pregnancy, seeing their doctor every month, and then every 2 times a month, and then every week. And then they had the baby, and it was kind of like, now what?
Yeah.
I mean, they have the one appointment maybe 6 weeks out after delivery, and that's it.
And there's
And
not even an exam. It's just like a how are you feeling?
correct. So, and a lot of moms, I think, that are feeling fatigued and that are having gut issues and that are having hormonal issues, they have all these things, but they're kind of fed the idea that it's normal. It's just like postpartum. This is just what you experience as a postpartum mom. So they don't even really bring it up to their doctor. Some of them do, and it depends on your doctor what answer you get. But typically, okay, well, let's run some labs. So they'll run maybe a TSH, and they'll maybe run an iron level, and things like that, just to kind
Yeah.
of cover the bases of those things like anemia or whatever it could be. And they find everything to be normal.
Yeah,
And
wait, hold on. Like, let's like normal. They
yeah,
find it to be normal. If
and
somebody's listening to this podcast versus watching it, that is in quotation marks. Normal. That's like the worst
correct.
word in holistic medicine.
It is. And the ranges are, as they're so very different than the ranges we use as functional practitioners. But not only that, it kind of reassures them in a weird way, that like, okay, maybe everything is normal, and maybe it's just me. And it just is some kind of postpartum thing that I'm experiencing, and it'll go away. It'll just eventually go away.
Yeah.
And that was me too. My first baby I had in my early 20s, and now I have 4 kids. So along that whole journey of all my pregnancies, the fatigue tends to get worse, and the gut symptoms get worse if you don't get a hold of it early on.
Yeah, yeah. I would say for my pregnancy, I did a lot of work healing prior to getting pregnant. And I think that, I don't want to use the term bounce back because I don't want women to think they have to bounce back.
Mhm.
That's not it. You are changed forever. There's no bouncing back
Yeah,
after you have a
you're
baby. And I don't
different.
mean physically, I mean just all parts of you. But
Yeah.
I feel like I healed really fast. I feel like my body recovered really fast. I feel like I felt myself again relatively fast because I had addressed a ton of this stuff like months before getting pregnant.
Right.
But I will say, and I mentioned this to you while before we started hit record, that I am 18 months postpartum now, and I feel more tired now sometimes during the day, even though we're all sleeping through the night, no problem, and have been for months. But my thought process on that is, when you first have a baby, you are like running on stress hormones. Like you're not sleeping. He is my first. So, you're also paranoid and anxious and all the things of this little new thing in
Of
your
course.
world because you are just sent home and told to be like, hey, well, keep this thing alive. And your husband's new at it and whatever. Anyway, so I definitely put that to running on stress hormones. And now that my body has the opportunity to relax, it's like there's been a bit of a crash. So in the last couple of months, I've been running some functional labs on myself and just seeing where I'm at as a new sort of baseline before we decide to try and get pregnant again.
Mm.
But yeah, it's just so interesting. Everybody postpartum has some journey, and you can easily say things like, oh, it's normal for me, or you can easily ignore it unless it's like really hitting you in the face.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And like you said, you're starting to feel different now. It's like our hormones take a long time to normalize completely. So you kind of go through different phases of that. But I mean, yeah, compared to my first three kids, which I didn't have any of this knowledge really before them. So I kind of just was winging it and like,
Yeah.
and with my third baby, I mean, it was my third, so I was comfortable with having a newborn and all of that. And she was a really good baby, but I still felt like, oh my goodness, I can't do this. I'm so drained. Like, how can I get through the day? I couldn't get through the day. I mean, I like planned my days around naps, literally. Um,
Yeah.
when the fourth one came along, which was a great surprise to us, I'm thinking, I cried to my husband, I'm like, how can I do this again? Like physically, not just like the baby aspect, but physically, how am I going to do this again? And luckily, like timing wise, I had done a lot of work after my third baby, because I had finished FDN and I had gone through all the labs and done all the stuff on myself. I didn't realize how much easier it was going to be this time. And I mean, he's a good baby, but I mean, he's still a newborn. He's up every 3 hours to eat and the normal thing like that. And like you said, we don't have to feel the need to bounce back, but if we can give ourselves the tools and like support ourselves to be able to at least feel slightly normal, I guess faster than you would otherwise, why wouldn't you want to do that, you know?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
not even about the weight or the weight loss or anything like that, just your mood and like how you feel and to have energy through the day. It's like life changing for me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad that you got to experience that with your fourth. Is your fourth your last?
Oh, yeah.
That's
I
a
said that last time,
lot
but
of work.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you got to experience the difference. I mean, I don't wish that you were tired in your first three at all, but it does make all the difference. And
Yeah,
some of my close friends who knew that I was, really working hard on my health prior to getting pregnant, they even said it must, like, you have bounced back so fast. It must be
yeah.
because you worked on yourself. And I fully accredit that as well.
And you had the tools, like, you had the knowledge
Yeah.
where, unfortunately, a lot of people don't, which, I mean, is why we're here, why you have a podcast, and, like, why we're talking about this stuff, because it needs to be more accessible and, like, more well known that it's possible for people.
Yeah, I said this to you before we hit record. I have a good friend. She's a pediatric chiropractor, and I just take these words. You need to find your tribe of women postpartum. You need to find your people that will help take care of you and will help take care of baby, so that you have the ability to feel your best, because it is a vulnerable time for women.
Yeah.
It's hard on a marriage. It's hard if you're not married. If you're doing it alone, it's hard. It's just hard. It's challenging,
Yeah.
so then to add exhaustion, or to add, extra stress or whatever on top of that, you don't have to. We are here to tell you, you don't have to add all of that on top of how challenging it is to have a newborn. Or, like, I still consider myself postpartum at 18 months, like,
Yeah.
when I
Yeah.
pulled my hormones, they were not where they should be, and I am 18 months postpartum.
Yeah.
So, like, my body is still going through it.
Yeah, I have moms reaching out to me all the time that are 5 year, their baby's 5 or whatever, and they're like, I don't know if this applies to me. I'm like, 100% it applies to you,
Yeah.
especially if you've never, like did anything to balance out or fix your health before, in between that time. Of
Yeah.
course, it's for you. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you have a program. So your, like, signature program is
Mhm.
all about helping women improve their energy postpartum. Tell us a little bit about your program, and then we're going to dive into how to nourish your body after pregnancy.
Yes. So I created this program for moms like us who
Yeah.
have dealt with, especially like me in my first 3 pregnancies, right? Who are feeling like fatigued constantly, the chronic fatigue, and not just from a little bit of lack of sleep at night, but just that continues even after like you said, even after your child's sleeping through the night.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of moms that come to me as well have worsening gut issues. They tend to get better during pregnancy, weirdly enough, sometimes, minus the acid reflux, which we all know we struggle with during pregnancy. But sometimes
So,
they, yeah, they
sorry, go
get
ahead.
better.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, yeah, and then after we deliver, like, it's, like, almost like they're back and it's worse. The bloating and the indigestion and the, constipation especially is really bad for some moms.
Yeah. Can I interject? I'm sorry.
Yes. No,
I
thank
have
you.
a theory about why our guts feel so much better during pregnancy. Again, maybe a little bit of heartburn or maybe a little bit of constipation just due to the
Yeah,
hormone or like, pressure as the baby grows.
right.
Um, because our immune systems have lowered so much, we're not reactive to the things we're eating,
Yeah.
right? Because that's what
Yeah, that's
that's what
true.
that is
That's
when you're
true. Yeah,
not pregnant, and if you have a food sensitivity,
yeah,
your immune system is reacting to that food.
acting. Yeah,
Whereas
that's
when
true.
you're pregnant, right, our immune
Yep.
systems are lower. And so lots of women tend to feel good. However, doesn't mean the damage is not being done. And
Right.
therefore, after pregnancy, it kind of comes back in full force.
And what do we do when we have acid reflux during pregnancy? We run for the Tums
Yeah.
because we can't stand it. So then, our stomach acid is depleted and we're dealing with issues from that afterwards. So, gut issues is another area we touch heavily. And then we're also talking about minerals in my pregnancy a lot. We lose minerals due to stress. We lose minerals due to just pregnancy in general because our baby needs minerals to grow. Like we're literally creating a human. So, we need to eat more because we need more minerals. But a lot of women during pregnancy have food aversions, or they're just not hungry, or maybe they are really hungry, but they're having bad cravings. So they're eating foods that they normally wouldn't want,
Yeah.
or that normally wouldn't make them feel good. And my whole nutrition philosophy, I mean, I'm not against like having treats and having like sweets and things like that. But sometimes the pregnancy cravings can be like really bad and you just don't want the healthy food.
Hmm.
That I've experienced that. So yeah, it's all about like mineral restoration. We do a lot with drainage. We do a really good drainage protocol in the beginning to like prep your body basically for the minerals. We do
Amazing.
HTMA testing to see what the imbalances are in your body specifically to so yeah, so we know exactly like what your body needs, where you're lacking. And
Yeah.
then really the rest is just stress, like from FDN. I mean, we're really working on diet, some movement after, depending on where you are in your postpartum journey. But like lots of walking, especially. Stress reduction is a huge one.
Big one. Yeah.
And a little bit of supplementation, not a ton, but just, depending on, like I said, what we see on the HTMA and what you need.
Yeah.
That's the gist of it. But yeah, it's really just to be able to help moms gain their energy back and start to feel like themselves again, but also have really good digestion, like get rid of the bloating, get rid of the acid reflux, and feel good.
Yeah. Also, an important part of that, I mean, we all know that bowel movements every day are really important. But if you are a breastfeeding mom and you are not using the bathroom every day completely, what is recirculating in your body that is finding its way out maybe through your breast milk? And I'm not trying to scare anybody by any means,
Yeah.
right? But like that's a real reality,
Yeah.
right? And
Mhm.
so your breast milk or your breast when you are breastfeeding is a drainage pathway.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
you have to remember that it's not like if you are nourishing your baby in that way, you have to know that your health matters so much there.
Definitely. It does. And, we all can benefit from even just a little bit. Like you don't want to be constipated for yourself. Like those things are frustrating and annoying, and like we're already having to like have a lot put on us dealing with our new baby. And it's such an amazing time. I get so frustrated because like we love like everyone does. You love your kids. We love having kids. And so it makes me so angry that like moms are suffering from things keeping them from experiencing the joyful things of
Mm,
motherhood too, because it's all like, I don't know. I hear a lot of like negativity online about how it's so hard and how this and that. So if we can just take a little bit of like the actual physical symptoms away from moms, so they're not focused on that and they can actually focus fully on being the best mom. That is why I do this.
Oh, I love that. My husband and I also just so, I mean, I'm going to say I love having kids. We only have
Yeah.
one. We want more.
Yeah.
I
It's the best.
It's the best. It's like been the greatest joy of my life. I don't even
Yeah.
know why I waited so long
Yeah.
now that I am, in the world of it.
Yeah.
Honestly, it is the best. And you're right. If there is so much negativity in mom culture around,
Yeah.
dealing with kids.
Mhm.
And I get that it is challenging. It is
Yeah.
probably one of the most challenging things I've ever done. But you're right. If I had to compound that challenge with physical illness or chronic issues, chronic symptoms, you would hate it
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
because
because
you're hating everything.
yeah, and you're suffering yourself. So,
Mhm. Oh, that makes me feel like really sad that there are lots of women out there that are struggling in that way and that they aren't enjoying motherhood like you and I are.
yeah.
But then it makes me really happy that there is somebody out there like you who wants them to experience that. And I hope that through this podcast episode, there are women that find you from this.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, I'm excited.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about minerals. How do you sort of generalize minerals for pregnancy and then after pregnancy? I know that you do HTMA testing, and for those who don't know what that is, it's a hair mineral analysis test. So you just snip a bit of your hair, send it off, and then it gives a good indication of what your body is putting out as your hair grows. So tell me a little bit about the importance there, and if you have any general recommendations for people, like what they could be looking for.
Yeah. So the reason I do HTMA testing in this program in particular, is because, like I said, moms are depleted in minerals. And one of the main patterns that we can see is four lows, meaning, for those of you that don't know, meaning the four main minerals that your body needs are all low. They're depleted. They're not adequate. And so that's one of the most common things that I see with moms, that we really need to get going and start working on that, because that is like the number one reason why moms are so tired and
Yeah,
fatigued.
yeah.
Um,
Tell us
but
about the four lows. What are the four lows?
so calcium, magnesium, potassium, and sodium are the four main minerals, and they're just not adequate in your body. So, but again, to say the reason why we do HTMA testing is because not everybody is in that pattern specifically. I mean, we could have people with calcium shells. I've seen moms with really high calcium in the tissues, which can become a problem.
Sure.
And it can cause like thyroid issues and again, fatigue and things like that. So there's different patterns that we can see, which is why I don't like to just blanket recommend certain supplements for everyone. Um, but again, it's a really good thing. Like, even if you're not getting an HTMA test, I mean, we need minerals in general. So a really good way to start doing that is just like getting a really good mineral drop liquid, putting it in your water every day, making sure that you're really hydrated with proper minerals and sodium. So that's like a good Celtic sea salt, things like that. Salting your food with a good natural mineral salt that's not stripped of all the other minerals, because that becomes problematic when we're taking in all this sodium, but there's no magnesium, there's no potassium. Like, we're lacking those things. And, magnesium and potassium are probably the two minerals I see moms depleted in the most.
Agreed.
And mainly because, I mean, stress really burns through those minerals. But also just not taking them in properly through our food
Yeah.
can be a big reason too. A lot of moms that I see undereat, and that was me too, just under eating. And when you're under eating, you're not getting the minerals through food, so your body's craving them, and that's why you have all these food cravings.
Yeah. I wonder if, I know that we say that, hormones are the reason you have cravings in pregnancy. But I wonder if just during pregnancy in itself, because you become so depleted building another human,
Yeah.
I wonder if there is. I never did an HTMA test during my pregnancy, but I
Mm.
might next time around,
Yeah.
to see if that's part of the reason why women have a lot of cravings, because things are just not balanced.
Yeah, I'm sure there are many reasons for
Yeah.
that. I'm sure it's part of it. I read a study a while ago. Don't quote me on the exact on the exact study, but it was about potassium. And when moms supplemented or had enough potassium through their food, their food cravings dropped tremendously. And that's just from the potassium. So I mean, imagine if, and that's something like I've tracked myself because I'm like, wait, like I wonder how much I'm actually getting in my normal diet, what I eat every day, and
Yeah.
I'm severely under in what I'm taking in through food. Like if
Yes.
you're not really like intentional about it, it's very easy to just think that you're okay. I'm eating, I'm good, but it's
Yeah.
really you have to be more intentional about the certain foods that you're eating.
Yeah, potassium is a big one for me, and a lot of my clients the same because women undereat.
Yeah.
No woman thinks they're undereating,
Yeah.
but then when you really get them to show you a food diary and
Yeah.
you're like, "No, you might be eating a lot of calories, but you are not eating a good quality food." And
Yeah.
potassium, like I usually recommend if somebody's low in potassium, like 4,000 milligrams of potassium a day. And that's a lot of food.
Yeah.
But
It's
like,
not easy.
no, but to me, it's like good food. Like, are you talking
Yeah.
potatoes and sweet potatoes and
Yes.
squash and
Yes.
watermelon? Like, give me all of that. I am good with
Same.
all of that. But women are really nervous about eating.
Mhm. And there's a lot of fear now around carbohydrates, and
Yeah.
we need to be carnivore and we have to be keto, but and I'm not against necessarily like diets like that. If it works for you, it works for you. But in the time like postpartum early on, like I don't think, or I don't, at least I don't see it working well for the women that I see, because that's a time of like nourishing, like you said, like we need all these different types of foods, not only for our gut microbiome, but like for the mineral aspect of it too.
Yeah. I agree. I totally agree. What would you say is like some of your favorite foods postpartum for just nourishing the body? I think of like warmth. I think of like, oh, like I want to get under a cozy blanket when I think about these foods. Tell me what you think.
Well, I'm glad you said potatoes because I'm obsessed with potatoes.
I love every day in this
Yeah.
house.
And it's, it's in any way, in
Yeah.
any way I can eat
Yeah.
them. But just really focusing on protein-centered meals, especially like I could eat steak every day. I
Me
mean, that's
too.
just me. And I think like a good, avocado, good quality vegetables, root vegetables are my favorite.
Me too.
Like the sweet potatoes and like the squashes and things like that. But yeah, that and I'm not like a variety person. I mean, I could eat the same thing every day, but one thing that I do have to like push myself to do is I eating more omega-3s for the inflammation aspect. So
Yeah.
I'm like I'm eating a lot more salmon, and we can find that in like fatty fishes and things like that, because it's just super important to balance out the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 and by upping that omega-3. So that's really helpful for inflammation especially after pregnancy.
Yeah. Pregnancy in itself causes inflammation.
Yeah.
Obviously, the birth can cause inflammation. And then if you're not eating well afterward, like if you're
Yeah.
struggling with gut issues and stuff, inflammation is going to be high. Just to clarify for listeners, omega 6s are your seed oils and they are in your takeout. Let's just go with that. Like if postpartum you're eating a lot of takeout because you're stressed or you're busy or, whatever, just consider, adding in those fatty fishes or consider supplementing with omega 3s to try to increase the omega 3s because like Sarah said, you want to make sure that inflammation is coming down.
Yeah, and a lot of people, like a lot of my clients find it really hard in the beginning because a lot of them are eating out a lot, and that they find it, because they are so busy. And I get that. I really do. But like I said, like I'm not like sitting here like, oh, I have to cook you extravagant meals every night. Like if find the things that you like, find the things that work for you that are really nourishing, and just repeat them for a little while to kind of
Yeah.
give you a break from feeling like you have to like eat all these crazy different dinner ideas,
Yeah.
Like just have a few good quality nourishing things that you like and just stick with it, and always have protein prepped. That's it.
Yeah.
Like if I have my protein prepped, like it's easy for me to throw other things together.
Yeah,
With
agreed. I agree.
just
That's Yeah, that's great advice. For me, I gave birth in March, and in March in Toronto is very cold. So it's easy to crave nourishing foods. It's easy to
yeah.
want to like, get cozy, like I said. So for my husband and I, leading up to giving birth to my son, we prepped meals for like a solid 6 weeks.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
yeah, we did like beef stews. We did homemade shepherd's pie with
Wow.
potatoes and beef,
That's
and we
good.
froze it all. And then, so we had lots of food afterward and soups. I remember we did a lot of soups. And
Yeah.
then the rule for people coming to visit when I was postpartum was that they had to bring warm meals.
That's amazing. I love that.
So like,
I
I
love
know
that.
a lot of women have trouble asking for help, but like if there's any time postpartum, that's the time. And your mothers and mother-in-laws and
Yep.
sister-in-laws and all of them, they want to help you.
Yes,
So give them something to do. And if you're struggling in terms of food and all you want to do is eat out or that's all you can do, then have your
yep.
people come support you in that way.
Oh, 100%. Like you said, they wanna help. They just maybe don't know how
Yeah.
or how you want the help. I've seen a lot of arguments online about this. Well, they should bring food or they should come and hold the baby or they should come do laundry.
Well, come
I mean,
ask them.
kind of just, yeah, ask them and be open with them, like, about what you need. Like, some moms just wanna hold their baby and that's it. Other moms wanna, like, get laundry done and get stuff done, and you can hold the baby for a little while. So, like, it just depends on what you want.
Yeah.
Just tell them.
And it can change.
Yeah.
Maybe one
Yeah.
visit, like, you bring food, and the next visit, you hold the baby. I
Yeah,
wanna go
give me a break
shower.
for a little while. Exactly.
Yeah, and I think just being an advocate in general for
Yeah,
yourself, especially in that time, is necessary, and if there's anybody going to respect your family.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. I
yeah,
agree.
cool. Okay, let's go on to, why circadian rhythm plays a huge part in getting back to feeling yourself postpartum.
Yes, I love this topic. And I will say, like, I'm fairly new at all this circadian signaling information, but it's quickly becoming like my favorite topic because of how important it is. If you really think about it, because now all the craze is cortisol. Everyone's like obsessed with cortisol online and they want to know like what my cortisol is, or they just want a drink to like fix their cortisol because all these companies now are coming out with like, buy my drink and you'll drop 30 pounds. Um, but the one thing they're not talking about, and a lot of people are talking about this, but those types of accounts are not, is the fact that cortisol is a circadian hormone. Like,
Right,
we need to focus on the circadian rhythm and that whole aspect to even think about optimizing your cortisol.
right.
And of course, there's other ways you can do it, like managing stress and keeping your blood sugar regulated and things like that. But if you're not putting into piece, which I guess I'll talk a little bit about the other aspect of it, which is our light environment and the sun, then you're really not fully able to balance your cortisol. Or, you know,
Agreed.
some people have low cortisol, some people have high. We're all different, and it just depends on where you're at. Um, and so yeah, so the one thing I'll say is cortisol is meant to raise in the morning, be high in the morning, and slowly decrease through the day so that at nighttime the melatonin can then increase and be high so you're tired at night. It goes like that cycle every single day. And the thing that regulates it more than anything is light from the sun. So, the number one thing that you can do to regulate this pathway is to get outside first thing in the morning and let your eyes see the sun. It doesn't matter if it's bright and sunny, it doesn't matter if it's cloudy or raining, literally does not matter. As
The
long as
light.
the light has come up and the sun is starting to rise, that's all you need. I I'll have to say, like, when I first heard, I've heard this information for a long time now. I mean, we learn about it in FDN, but I really kind of brushed it off until I started realizing, or I learned, I guess, that the light is measured in lux. So if you have like a house full of, lights in your house, it's the lux is very, very low
Mm,
compared to outside. I mean, you're talking like a few hundred inside compared to the actual natural sun, like in the 10,000s,
yeah.
during the day. So if our body is not getting that signal, hey, it's daytime, our cortisol needs to be at a certain level, and regulated so that throughout the day, like the proper processes are working. Your digestion's working, your hormones are doing what they should be doing. Everything's kind of doing what it should be doing at the time that it is during the day. It all runs on that same cycle.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's something that I really work with my clients on, because food is important, but if we don't have this aspect dialed down, then it kind of doesn't really matter sometimes.
I kind of would blanket that with like supplements are great, but if
Yeah,
you don't have this aspect down,
yep,
nothing's going to
no
change.
point. Waste of
Yeah.
money.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
foundations, right? This
Yeah.
is like number one foundation. And if you are postpartum, this can help your child sleep too.
Yes,
Like
100%.
bring them outside
Yes,
in the morning.
involve
It
your
is,
kids.
yeah, this is natural.
Yep.
Our way of living, of being, in this house with all of these, I have a light staring at me right now with all of these lights,
Yeah,
artificial. This is not natural. This is
no.
us intervening with Mother Nature, which you and I said a little bit about before we hit record. But yeah, I always say to my clients, and I say it a lot on my page, that your world should rise and set with the sun,
Yeah, yep,
like your
100%.
everyday.
I love
And
that.
yeah, and I don't just mean like you get up in the morning and you go to bed at night, because like most people do that, but I'm
Yeah,
talking about like your body needs to see it.
yep. And at the very least, like, because the thing is like, people want quick fixes, easy things that they can do, but the thing is, like, sometimes we need a lifestyle change, and
Yes.
sometimes, like, I have to be tough with that my clients and be like, "Listen, like, this is life changing. This will be life changing for you. You just have to do it so that your body can get used to it, and then it becomes normal. It's just like anything. It's just like exercising, getting back into that. Anything you want to do, it takes time. But when you do it, I've found it's the thing that gives me the quickest like wins in terms of like energy
Yes.
and my digestion. And if you really, really, really are like, I can't go outside. I literally just can't in the morning. Open a window
Yes.
because our windows block the light most of it. So open your window and sit next to the window,
Yeah.
especially like for when it's cold outside. I know people ask about that a lot too when you're in Canada.
Yeah.
Like
It's
open
always
the
cold.
window.
Open
Yeah,
a
but the
window.
cold's good for you too.
Absolutely. And what a little, that contrast, just like a
Yeah,
little energy boost, and it doesn't take much. And so it's so interesting that people want a quick fix. That's like the quickest fix,
it
and it's
is. It really is.
free,
Yep. Yep.
right?
Free.
Like you
Completely
could
free.
prescribe some sort of supplement that helps you with cortisol or whatever, like literally blanket that in any way. But like you have this big, beautiful, burning ball in the sky every
To
day
help you.
to help you, and it takes 15 minutes,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
anybody, so the postpartum aspect, if your baby is struggling to sleep through the night, or they've got their day and night reversed,
Yes.
like if you think this is going to help them, this is not just for babies, like this will
Correct.
help you too. And something that I know, and I'm sure lots of mothers know, and I'm sure you can agree, the more my son is outside, the better he sleeps every night.
Yeah. And the happier they are. My kids love to be outside.
Absolutely.
They're so content when they're outside.
Like where did we as adults lose that?
I don't know.
When my son's out in our backyard, we just moved out to the country from the city.
Oh,
And we didn't have a backyard, we lived in a
yeah.
condo, and now we have this huge backyard, beautiful green grass, lots of trees, and my son is out there every day in bare feet,
Yep,
and
yep.
I follow bare
Yep,
feet, because
yep. It's
just,
natural to them to wanna do that.
yeah, where
Yeah.
did we lose that? It's so important.
And, take what you're doing inside, take it outside. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, cook breakfast, you're gonna sit inside and eat it, so take it outside. The light from the outside actually lowers your blood sugar response when you're sitting in the light eating, if
Oh,
that's another reason, to sit outside.
that's
But
amazing. And you know what? I was thinking, you said, blood sugar regulation and stuff, and if you start working on your circadian rhythm. So you are going to bed at a decent hour, without all the artificial blue light. And you wake up with the sun and you get that sunshine first thing in the morning. And then you start to sleep better. Your blood sugar regulation is going to be better, because you are going to be more equipped to deal with cravings. You probably aren't going to have as many cravings. So you're going to be more motivated to then cook a balanced meal where you have adequate protein, which means your sugar levels will be balanced. I just
yep,
feel like it all goes hand in hand. And
yep.
the postpartum, like if we're talking about postpartum recovery, like this is a huge aspect of just feeling better.
Yeah, 100%. I've seen a lot of nutritionists or like people online practitioners talking about leptin and how leptin causes you to have or like leptin regulates your appetite, right? Um, the number one way to regulate leptin is through circadian balancing. The sun, getting outside in the morning, seeing light throughout the day, like that is how you regulate it. Not as even more so than with food. So,
Oh, I just love this. And so the next question I'm going to ask you I feel like this might be a bit of our theme today. How if you stop trying to control Mother Nature, you are going to be so much better off.
Yeah.
And like I said, being outside, the sun, you can't get more natural than that.
Correct.
And it obviously works. You and I both wholeheartedly agree on that. So my next question is, so you come from a conventional medicine background, labor and delivery nurse, you've seen it all. I might ask you some questions about it
Yep.
to tell us some
Of course.
stories. How has conventional medicine failed moms postpartum?
Oh my gosh. So many ways. One thing I'll say to, first, I guess, is that as moms, a lot of moms probably dealt with themselves or realized themselves, right? You have your OB, you get pregnant, and it's a lot of attention on you, like a lot of attention on your health and testing and constant monitoring and making sure everything is good for the birth of the baby and every you're healthy and all of that. You have the baby and then you leave, you go home, and we have typically one 6-week postpartum appointment um afterwards, with maybe it's a 10-minute appointment with your provider. And how much information do you really go over in that time? You really don't. And it's kind of like we talked about this before, where moms either feel like postpartum fatigue and postpartum constipation and all these issues are just normal postpartum, so they don't even bring it up to their physician as a problem. Or if they do bring it up, they get a set of labs run, whether that's like an iron panel or um, whatever it is, thyroid, TSH, maybe if you're lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then your doctor says it comes back normal. And you're thinking, well, maybe it is all in my head. Maybe this is just a period where like I'm supposed to feel a little off. Like maybe it'll just go away. I don't know. But there's no conversation like for us, like this whole conversation so far, we've talked about things that can easily help moms feel better: minerals, protein, nourishing foods. Like none of that is really brought up to these moms in the hospital, which is when they most need it.
Sure.
And that's a whole nother thing, is what they feed you in the
Oh
hospital.
my gosh. I'm going to tell you my story. I did give birth in a hospital with my son, and
Yeah.
I'll tell you what they served us. I was like,
Yeah, please tell me, because
we
yeah,
got a cheese sandwich.
a cheese
Like,
sandwich.
hold on, like a cheese, like a Kraft single
I believe
sliced
it.
cheese
I
sandwich.
believe it.
I
I
think
believe
there
it.
might have been like packaged applesauce too.
That's one of the most frustrating aspects that I've dealt with as a nurse in general. Even before I was in labor and delivery, when I was on the cardiac unit, adults and pediatrics, food was the most frustrating thing to me. I mean, aside like from the, obviously the pharmaceuticals that we use like crazy, but the food drove me nuts. People are healing and this is what we're feeding you. And it's not even like the quality of food that bothers me. It's like, here's a plate of like 90% processed carbohydrates and like a little bacon on the side or like a little piece of chicken on the side. Like, I'm just so confused because it's so backwards and it's frustrating. On one plate at the hospital in my own birth, I had cereal, toast, a muffin,
And orange juice.
and orange juice, yes, and a coffee, and a little big thing of eggs. Like that was it. And it's just, as you know, that frustrates us because that's the opposite of what our body really needs to heal.
Yeah. Yeah. You could say, I used to work in a hospital when I was younger. When I was in high school, that was my part-time job. And I was like a candy striper and I used to
Yeah,
deliver dinner and lunch to patients,
yeah.
and including in the maternity ward, but also just on the main floor. So obviously the people on the main floor are not well. It was a really small hospital. Anyway, and same thing. Even that young, I was like, why? Like they used to do like powdered mashed potatoes and just like add a bunch of water. And I was like, what nutrients are
No.
this? Yeah, everything was packaged to be able to make in bulk.
Yeah.
And you're just thinking like, if now that you and I know that our body has an innate need and want to heal, you just kind of
Mhm.
have to get out of your own way,
Yeah.
right? You're thinking to yourself, man, like there was a lot of sick people in there that were just being made sicker
Yep.
by what they were consuming or what they had to consume.
Yeah.
That makes me really sad. Yeah, I think, can you give us a little tidbit? Can you give us a story about how, like a real life story about a failure? in the medical system, in the conventional medical
Just
system
in
that
general.
you know that you have experienced?
Oh, that I have
That has
experienced.
also, and if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. But do you have any interesting stories where you maybe your opinion about a situation differed from what actually happened? Or
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and this goes to the topic that we were talking about before we got on the call about how, as a labor and delivery nurse who is interested in holistic healing and holistic health, I struggle a lot with being kind of in between. I felt like a lot of the time where, as a nurse, I had to follow doctor's orders, obviously. And the conventional system in labor and delivery is very frustrating sometimes in terms of like, and part of it is that like a lot of moms are sick, so there are reasons why we need to induce early and give pitocin and things like that, but it's overused to a crazy extent. We're offering inductions to anyone who wants it, and even moms that don't ask for it, doctors are offering it at 39 weeks to say, hey, do you just want to get induced? And without knowing any better, moms agree to it.
oh my,
This happened to me with my first baby, and luckily I went into labor on my own before that date. But so many of us have no idea. I had no idea about any of this until I was actually working in the field. So to kind of preface the story, that's kind of how it is for me. And I struggled a lot with like, do I want to be in this world of conventional medicine anymore? Because I didn't have a say, first of all. We're as nurses, we're supposed to take care of our patients, we're supposed to educate, we're supposed to put them first. It's patient-centered care. Like that's the whole point.
mhm.
But when you have doctors that are like going against what you would want to educate them with, it's frustrating. So for the story, we had a mom who it was her third baby, and she had had 2 very large babies in the past. Like, her babies were, I think, were, like, 8 and 9 pounds, and came in for, I think it was an induction or something. I don't remember the reason why. But when they measured the baby in the hospital, the baby was measuring over 10 pounds. I think 10.5 pounds was on the ultrasound. And I remember telling the mom, like, not even thinking twice about it, "Oh my god, it's okay. This can be off, first of all. The weight can be off.
Yeah,
And you had a 9-pound baby, like, I
we can
wasn't
do
thinking
this.
of it, like, we
Mhm.
got this." And the doctor came in and was frustrated with my advice, or like with me being okay with that, and said, we need to do a C-section, because of risks and things like that. So the patient ended up going along with that, and they went ahead with the C-section, and the baby was only measuring like 8 pounds, which she
Oh,
had had a previous baby bigger than that vaginally, just a couple years back.
so her body could totally do it.
And she was frustrated. Like, she was really frustrated with that, and it sucks because C-sections are a major surgery.
Yeah,
They can be life-saving, but it's a major surgery. It's not something to take lightly just to say, "Well, it's okay. I'll just get that over a vaginal delivery." And I'm not saying that like I don't like to shame anyone. Like, if you had to have a C-section for any reason, it's okay. Like, it's all right.
yeah,
But the nonchalant, like, well, we can just do a C-section as opposed to even trying for the vaginal delivery, is frustrating because it's a vastly different. The 2 are
yeah.
vastly different, in my opinion.
And then, your whole thing is postpartum recovery. The postpartum recovery on a C-section
Oh,
versus a
yeah.
vaginal birth is completely different as well.
Completely different. You're just in a lot more pain. It's hard for you to get up and down. If you have
Yeah.
stairs, you have to like sleep on your couch. I know moms that have slept on their couch because they can't go up the stairs. Which again, if that was you in that situation, you get through it and you need
Yeah.
support, you need more help. But if you have the choice
Yeah.
to do it the other way, I mean, and you have someone educating you to do the other thing, it's just so frustrating to me.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. So,
Yeah, I mean, there's options, right? And like the whole point, and especially if you have a good midwife throughout your pregnancy, if any high risk or things that come up during pregnancy, then you just kind of go with what they recommend. But if everything is like okay, and everything checks out and your health is good, like there's no reason not to if that's what you choose.
yeah.
Um, and like I said, especially your second time around, like you're more confident and you know what to expect, so it's a little easier to make that that choice for some people. But some
Yeah.
people are ready to go for that their first baby. They're like, no way, doing it at home, that's it.
I follow a woman online who I just admire so much for her own body's intuition, like the way she listens to her body. She birthed all three of her babies, or so she says. She birthed all three of her babies alone. Like she
What?
didn't even want her husband in the room. She was like so
Wow.
in tune with herself.
That's insane.
And her babies are just like the most beautiful. She's got like a
Aw.
little boy and two little girls, and they are healthy and beautiful. And she just was like, she just listened to her body the whole time. And I admire that. I don't have the same intuition or confidence in that way to not
You
have somebody
could.
with me.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think that would definitely like be like a personal decision. To not have someone with you. I mean, that's to me, I couldn't. But I mean, I do know people that are like when they're in pain and they're in their mode having a baby, like, don't touch me, leave me alone. And then
Yeah.
there are other people that are like, no, like be right there and like be helping me and putting pressure and things like that. So
Yeah.
it's just, I guess, different personalities.
Absolutely, absolutely. I also have a friend who had a hospital birth first and home birth second, and she even felt her recovery postpartum was better with a home birth. Just maybe the high stress of a hospital, the bright lights, the all the people, the constant dings and messing with
Yeah.
your, the things on your stomach or whatever. And she said at home it was just so beautiful and
Yeah.
peaceful, and she felt like she could, really just curl up in bed afterward and be tended to. Her midwives, came
Amazing.
every day for the first like week, and then, whatever. Anyway, just a thought for women maybe who are currently pregnant and they're like, anticipating some postpartum care and whatnot. I
Yeah,
thought that maybe was a good option to know.
for sure. Definitely.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to touch on today?
Um, I mean, we touched on a lot. Like I think you said before, like I'm so passionate about helping moms after pregnancy because of the lack of care that we get
Yeah.
after having a baby. And it's funny because it's like now, like knowing all the things that we know as practitioners, there's so many like quick fixes for moms that are don't even cost anything. Like it's great to go through a program, and like I love my one-on-one clients and we have so much fun like together going through and doing the lab testing, and it's amazing. But if that's not for you and you just want to listen and like there's ways that you can get benefits without paying anything. Like we said, the sun is free.
Yeah.
Going outside in the morning is free. You don't need to buy supplements to feel good.
Yeah.
Supplements can be helpful and I use them in my practice, but they're not 100% necessary. Like if someone were to say, "Can I go through your program and not take a supplement?" Sure.
Yeah.
Because we have dress and we know how to help people with just that aspect
Yeah.
of healing. So, yeah, that's just what I want moms to know is that like there are ways to feel better. Um, it's sad that doctors don't, I wouldn't say that they don't teach their patients, it's just that they don't know
Yeah.
about these things. They're worried about more serious things that happen after birth, which, it does happen, but if we can support the body, maybe you don't know about this stuff during pregnancy, but you're just learning about it and you're either postpartum or your baby's older now, it doesn't matter. Like you can start now
Yeah.
and heal from the stress of not only just the pregnancies but just life in general. Like and it's one great thing that I also one of the reasons I focus on minerals so much is because, everyone always says like, well, you just have to reduce your stress. Like you just have to calm down. You just
Mm.
have to do things that you love to feel better. But when your minerals are out of balance, you literally can't handle stress.
Yes.
Like if your magnesium is depleted, as you know, you can't physically handle the stress that's happening. So
Yeah.
it's like this cycle where until you get those back into balance, because we're all meant to deal with stressors, obviously, like we're not going to have this perfect life with nothing bad happening. I mean, it's life,
Yeah.
but we want to like create resiliency in our body and be equipped to handle the stress.
Yeah.
And it's possible. Like you can handle it better. I know perfectly well from my third pregnancy where I was completely depleted of everything to my fourth. This I had two newborns that were similar, but the way I was able to like handle the stress was completely different.
Yeah.
It was so much easier.
Good for you. Good for you. And to your point, you just have to find joy in something when you are so depleted. It's so
Yeah.
hard to find joy in anything. Like that's
Exactly.
not
That's
happening.
the point of depression, right? You stop doing the things that you love, not because you don't love them anymore, but
Right.
because your body is telling you that you don't have energy for that right now. You like that can't be your focus right now until you focus on your physical body. And then once you do that, it's so much easier to enjoy. Like my kids and I love going out places, and I have four, and two of them are under two. But like we love going out places, and like we'll take the big stroller and pack them all into the car, and like before, like, when I had my first kid, the thought of doing that would is like, how I would never be able to do that because I was so overwhelmed with just the one because of my body was, like, telling me, "You need nourishment, you need food, you need,
Yeah.
to figure this out before you can feel like that."
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a
Wow.
journey, but it's possible.
It's totally
Yeah.
possible. Well, listen, Sarah, people can find you on Instagram. What's your handle?
My handle is functional.mom.co.
Amazing. So check her out. She offers a wonderful group program. It's group, right? The postpartum energy
I
program.
have yeah, I have both right now. I'm coming off maternity leave, so most of my clients are one-on-one currently, but I do offer one-on-one and group all within the same, like, postpartum energy reset, model.
Amazing. So, whatever motivates you most in a group setting or in a one on one setting, she's got this really, really great postpartum energy reset program. Check her out, functional.mom.co. I will make sure that the link to your handle is in the show notes. Um, and yeah, just thank you so much for coming on today. I feel like that was really, really informative, and I think a lot of moms are gonna benefit.
Thank you so much. This was so fun. I
Thank
loved
you.
it.
If you're looking for more information on how you can work with me, you can head to my website at www.michellescarlet.com or find me over on Instagram at michellescarlet_. And this information will also be provided in the show notes.